Hey, this is Bobby.
I'm Joe.
Hey, this is Tony from Circling Over, and you're listening to Heavy Mental Breakdown.
Hell yeah. First off, before we start this interview, I just wanted to make an announcement for those who did not know that Heavy Mental Breakdown is an official sponsor for the upcoming Brayburn show in Denver, Colorado at HQ on February 28th. We have Suicide Cages, Talking Point, Iron Ox, D-Horn, and now my new friends circling over. Thank you guys for jumping on this podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know who Circling Over is, what's a little bit of a background that you can let us know about you guys?
I guess kind of a doom gaze band from here in Denver. So we try to mix the heavy elements of doom metal with the pretty shoegaze parts of that genre, kind of shoehorn them in together into one happy, heavy genre of music.
And how long have you guys been doing this for?
See, we started the band back we've been playing shows for 2 years. We started maybe a year before that, just kind of getting members in and out of the band together and writing songs. So yeah, about 3 years we've been doing this together.
Okay. And how did you get connected with our friends over at Brayburn's?
Well, just it was one of those things where Derek is running Brayburn Records, and I would just run into him at shows and started noticing him kind of popping up at some of our shows, and hey, we should talk, and then it turned into we should talk shop, and then I think a couple people put a bug in his ear about our band, and cool. Next thing I know, we're just kind of chatting, and he's like, "Hey, I'd really like to release." He knew we were going to go record, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to work with you guys," and it just kind of led down that road, and we released the record on Brayburn Records this year.
And is that the Amends?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Amends. Is this brand new? Did this just drop? How new is this one? I know it just came out this year. But tell me about that release. How did that go for you guys?
It was pretty good. When did we release it? September, I think. August, when did the fish?
I think is what it was.
August.
The record came out August 8th,
okay.
I think, and we had our record release show on the 16th.
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound?
Okay. Yeah, right. I always messed up that, and some of it was, I guess we had a re-record of an existing song, Makers, right? And then there was a collection of new things we put together, and I think the conversation started, I would say, November of last year?
It has about a year ago.
I think that's when we kind of put the rubber to the road, so to speak, with like that we're going to make a plan, we're going to go to the studio at, I think we already March
had real time that booked at by this point last year. We kind of gave ourselves a time frame to get everything written and done. And that started, about a year ago, was end of last year, when we kind of booked the studio time and gave ourselves that goal to work towards of getting the record knocked out by a certain date.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have all the songs done when we booked the studio time.
That was your motivation, though. You're like, we got it booked and we have to have it done or ready to go by this date.
It was one of those things. I thought we were in a pretty healthy place with it. I knew that we all knew they weren't done, but had a feeling they were going to get done. And I feel like that healthy pressure would, it's in the oven. I think that kind of helps it if you have somewhere to aim the arrow, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think that actually kind of helped us. I think if it's not unreasonable, we gave ourselves some time. I think I originally was like, hey, let's, I'm a little bit like I guess I would say a go-getter, and I'm like, hey, let's record in February, and Bobby's like, whoa, he's
holidays.
Yeah, and it's, holidays. I'm like, oh yeah, there's holidays. There's, people have families and they're going to be doing things. So, yeah, usually around this time of year, I feel like, because we've been doing this for a couple of years now, I feel like this time of year is a little bit of I guess a lull for us, but a good one. Like I think it's good to step away. But I think that last year when we decided we're gonna record, like Bobby was like, and I think it was the better decision, and it's kind of good to have a vetting process sometimes, because I could be a little more, ambitious and want to get things done a lot faster than is always like reasonable. But I think like.
You're just so excited. That's all it is. You're just stoked to get it out.
Yeah, but I have some guys here that, Bobby and Joe both, they give me a little reality check. As frustrating as that could be, I think the compromise is good, and I think it puts us in a good place where, we end up making a good decision, because we find a way to meet in the middle. So that's kind of how that record happened.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys balance each other out, and that's always important. If you guys were all, let's all book it here, and just kind of, go right into it, and there's no true structure.
If everybody agreed with me, we would have been in the studio spending way more money than we needed to. So,
I actually have the same mindset. There's a lot of things that if I know I will want to do it, but for the extra motivate, like for example, I run marathons, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna book the next marathon. I am nowhere in marathon shape at the moment, but if I book it and pay for it, I know that like I don't want to waste that money. So I'm gonna book it in advance and then figure it out, on that write up. So that's cool. It sounds like you guys are in a healthy balance with your music. How did the fans and friends and family kind of receive this new album?
It's been a good reaction. It was a pretty good turnout to the show. You never know how turnouts are going to be for local shows. It's mostly local bands. We don't have any big national acts coming in. But it was a pretty good turnout. There's a healthy crowd there at a Bar 404 on the record release show. It's been good reaction. Good streaming numbers. Still waiting for the actual physical records to come in. That's a whole nother story, but we're hoping those will start selling once we get those. It's been pretty good.
Well, make sure you have them at the February 28th show, because I'm going to want to pick one of those up.
We better have them, Buff. We have cassettes and CDs.
Oh,
Not
cool.
on the vinyl yet.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're waiting on the vinyl. We had a little hang up with the, I guess the pressing plant that started the production went under, and then it was Rayburn had to get the money back, and then now we're with a different plant. I have a test press in my house, and we approved it. So
it's ready to go.
We should have it, I would think, in the next couple weeks, because it's been a little while since I've had it. So I'm just any day now I might get a notification saying we have them. So.
Nice. Well, hopefully that's very soon, and when you do, I will also share it to get the word out.
Thanks.
So speaking of shows, you guys are playing one as we keep talking about in February, and it's with D-Horn, Ironox, Talking Point, and Suicide Cages. Have you guys played with any of those bands before?
Most of them.
Oh, okay, most of them.
We've played with all Ironon. We've played with Talking Point. Played our record release show.
Oh, cool.
And we've played with Suicide Cages before too, so we haven't played with D-Horn yet.
Or Ironox. We haven't played with them either.
That's true.
So it's a chance to go rock out with some friends and to make some new ones. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we are here because of a song that you wrote called Eve off of Amends. Why did you guys choose this song? What does this one mean to you?
I think for me, just kind of looking at your podcast prior to being here and just kind of knowing the format. I mean, I don't know it that well, but I have an idea. I would say this is probably going to be the easiest song for me as a lyricist to talk about. This one probably has the most to do with mental health and what's going on between the ears. So I think this is a really good one. Also, this one was a single off of our record, and we recorded a video. You can find that on YouTube. I think it turned out pretty good. I think we're all pretty happy with it, although I think Bobby wishes maybe there was some more of him in it. but we'll get him. We'll get him next time.
We'll get him. My guitar was in another ton, actually.
His guitar was in it. They just really appreciated his guitar playing. You want to look at him.
All right. This is the track called Eve by Circling Over. Let's break it down. Before we get into the lyrics, I wanted to talk about just that intro there. My mind takes me different places when I listen to music, and that's one of the joys of listening to it. Not just lyrics, but instruments. I really appreciate, and I like listening to instrumentals. I'll listen to film scores all the time. I love listening to music. Where this intro took me was somewhere dark, but not dark as in like evil. But like I could just see myself laying in like the ground somewhere, or like and looking up at the sky. It doesn't really matter where I'm laying, but somewhere kind of secluded. And when I look at the photo for Amends, that's kind of where I picture myself. Like I see kind of like the stars in the sky and it being a chill night, little breeze going on, like nothing crazy, nothing hectic, but like a nice moment of reflection.
That's cool, man.
It's that moment to kind of just sit there with this vibe going where it's just like, man, like how has my life been lately? How can I fix myself? How can I do better? Or the opposite, music is very subjective, and it sparks a lot of different emotions in different people. But for me, like I can totally just see myself chilling somewhere at night, maybe camping or something, and just like having this track on and the breeze kind of coming in. I can hear the waves a little bit, some water. It sets a cool tone, a cool vibe. So I wanted to say that real quick.
I like that.
Tony, I like the way you're singing this song.
Thanks, man.
It's very fitting with the tone and the vibe of the track. You know, one thing that makes listening to music fun for me personally is I like hearing songs and when I and voices and projection that I know, like it's not too technical, it's not too different. You're not like screaming your lungs out with the gnarly, you know, growl. It's just like this, it's just like this release. And I feel like if I were kind of in that moment that I was telling you, I can sing the song and feel like I'm pulling it off. Like I feel like it's like the tone and the words are simple enough where I can be a part of it in a way. If I hear a song and I know that I can't do it, sometimes it kind of just puts me off.
Sure.
Because like I love to just be in the moment and sing along and vibe it. And even with my guitar, I know I can play something like this. And so it's like it's more enjoyable for me as a listener when I can kind of emotionally feel the emotions that the singer is, but also if I know that I project it myself through those emotions, I can do it too and kind of be one with the music.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a simplistic approach to the pretty much the whole song, really. But just really kind of going, you know, trying to achieve a vibe, I guess.
Yeah, and you definitely
and
said
try to
that very early on.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing that stands out to me with it too. It is simple, but yet it's sort of nicely architected. Like if you really listen to it, like where Tony's coming in, it's sort of like ending the guitar phrase where he enters the vocal phrase, right? But it also carries over to the one of the next guitar phrase, right? There's this like kind of like overlapping of the seam of the bars of the music itself. Sorry, I've actually like thought about this, so it's just
How much
stood
of
out to me. So
how much of structure of stuff like this are you guys considering when you're writing music, or does this kind of stuff just kind of come natural and it just feels good in the moment, or do you kind of plan to have, oh, you know, this song and these lyrics, I kind of want to go in with this vibe, with this structure, and then the next song something different, or like how does that work with you guys?
I think it's a little bit of all of the above.
Yeah, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think each song kind of, you know, is its own thing and lives in its own world. There's a song at the end of this record called Soul. It sounds nothing like this. But, you know, I love it. I love it too, you know? So
I always like to say there's a bit of like, you know, cooking noodles and throwing them at the wall until something sticks, right?
Yeah,
like
totally.
You know, it's very iterative, you know. You know, this is, you know, one that was I would say mostly done by Tony, right? I think probably solely, but you know, something is created and it's shared with the band, and it's kind of like, hey man, what do you think? Does this vibe with you? Do you like it? And there might be a yay or nay in that process, right? And if there's a nay, you know, we kind of hit the drawing board a little bit and discuss and try new things.
Well, that reminds me of what I said in the beginning. It seems like you guys are a very collaborative unit. And you guys kind of balance each other out in that way. It's like if Tony comes with something that's a little too much, somebody is like, hey, let's try it this way. And you guys are at that level where you respect each other and you trust each other. So it seems like it's a pretty smooth process. Let's dive into some of these lyrics here. So I feel through the fault line. There's no coming back. My grip on the surface, losing track. To me, this feels like someone who has already lost their way. And they're trying to pull themselves out of it. But they've kind of realized that they've lost the grip on what that was. And there's no coming back from it. My grip on the surface, losing track. Yeah, you're just losing track of it all. And there's no coming back from it, but it's my fault, almost. And you can kind of relate that to any situation, of relationship, but career. I'm actually going through that right now, where my career is at a very weird place because I thought it was something, and then it wasn't. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what that is right now. So to me, when I read these lyrics, it just reminds me of my career. I fell through the fault line. I didn't take it serious enough with my kind of regular 9 to 5 thing. There's no coming back. And for me, there's no coming back because I don't want to go back to that. Like, I realized I didn't like it, and that wasn't who I was and right for me. But with that kind of mindset of now my life is taking this new direction, I feel like my grip on my life is kind of just slipping, and I'm trying to figure out what that purpose is. So that's what I take from this opening. Tony, how did you come up with these lyrics? Where were you at when this was written?
I wouldn't say I was in a dark place when I wrote this song, but more of a recalling of events in my life. Just if it's in a nutshell, the song is about suicide in the how your mental health plays a role in that. I'm a lot better now, but there's been some times, and it's just kind of feeling like if you kind of start going down that road and you start getting into this cycle of talking badly about yourself to yourself and not really knowing how to get back to being that person that respected yourself, where you see color when you go outside, not everything's before everything becomes dull, and trying to get back to where you're getting joy out of life again. There's a point in my life where I wasn't getting joy out of anything. I couldn't, if I was there now, I couldn't do a band right now. But I guess that could apply to anything, like you said, your career. And I think that's an interesting, interpretation. I think it applies totally. But for me, it was, just kind of just recalling going through a dark place. I mean, to be quite honest, like I'm 43 now. There's not a whole lot of drama in my life, and I like it that way. And I sometimes I'm just like, well, what am I gonna write about? We write our music's like this sort of like, vibey, morose at times, ethereal, and like it's this thing that exists, but I have to continue to think of things to write about. So for me, like, in my earlier years, it was a bit of a roller coaster, I guess, mentally, and just kind of recalling moments, and just kind of feeling like I can never become a success in my life, whatever that looks like, whether it be career or through marriage or playing in a band and being happy again, or whatever it was. Just kind of not really seeing a path back. That's kind of that piece of lyrics.
Yeah, so pretty much what I got from that, it was you're lost.
Yeah, sure.
You're lost, and
Absolutely.
you didn't know which path to go, what direction to take, and that becomes very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because there's all these pressures outside too, like it's friends and family and relationships, and like I said, career and bands. Like when we sit and we just think about all the shit going on in our lives, like it's like this, like the list just piles and piles and piles, and it's very hard to go through. But one thing that I wanted to discuss that you had said was the way that you talked to yourself, and I love that you said that, because one thing that has changed my life, there's a book and it's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And it's basically about all the things you just said, but how to reword it different. Because we all pick up like a lot of traumas and a lot of bullshit in our life, and it stays with us. And it stays there because it hurts or it sparked something. So we hold on to it for so long, and then for so long we hold on to it and we start to think that it's a real thing. So by the time you're in your 40s or 30s, like that's still with you. a lot of that shit follows you because it's hard to get through it. But if you are patient with it, and this is what the book says, and if you're patient with it, whenever you start to feel yourself saying something negative about you, just put a spin on it. Where it's like, as simple as just saying, today's going to be a great day. Or I'm going to write a dope song today. Even if you don't write a dope song, even if you don't have a good day, just starting to kind of rewire your brain in a way where like the things you are saying to yourself are positive, because it has the same effect. It'll stick with you and you'll start to believe it. And yeah, I mean, especially the older we get, when we don't kind of internally deal with these things, it kind of just stays for a very long time until we kind of do like a deep dive into our own mental health and figure out all these little things.
I will say writing these songs is it's great. Seeing a therapist and all that, I highly recommend. But this is therapy. Getting this off.
Absolutely.
And turning it into art. So
yeah. I have a question about when you released it, but I'm going to hold on to it till after we're done with the song. Joe and Bobby, when you guys first heard the lyrics to this song, what was your thought? How did you take it when you first heard this opening here?
Well, I would say first off, Tony actually told us what they were about initially, so I already kind of had that scope. But I would say, from my own perspective, I don't know. Some of the things you said resonated with me well too. At least like what I was thinking when I heard it. I almost feel like someone sort of like alone, self-reflecting, and sort of someone having a conversation with themselves. But more like internally, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're not saying this stuff out loud.
Right.
It's sort of the voice in the head, out somewhere alone, or could be in a room alone or something. I don't know. It feels kind of like desolate and self-reflecting.
Yeah, I can almost see it. Where what I was saying of like just laying somewhere, maybe just on concrete or cement, probably somewhere hard actually. Like laying on the ground, being one with it, and looking up at the sky, and almost as if like the things I'm saying to myself, these negative things, I'm like releasing them. And it's, you guys can have this now. I don't want this anymore. You have it.
Which is really what a song does.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's, you guys are jumping way too ahead of me, but I love it. We're going to talk about that, about the release of the track. We're going to discuss that. Yeah, I just feel like this is a great moment for self-reflection and evaluating your life and letting go of these things. And you're letting go of them softly in this song. So it almost feels like if I were to release these feelings in my own thing, it seems like an acceptance of it almost, where it's like I can let go of these things, and I'm finally able to do that. Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, so Tony will often share the lyrics with us before we commit to those for the song, so it's not entirely out of left field about what the songs are going to be about. So going forward with all that in mind, I think the songs are very relatable, not just lyric-wise, but also the tone, the vibe of the song.
Yeah.
You might not have to take the lyrics literal for them to mean something to you. Like personally, the struggles that I might deal with, or Bobby, or whoever's listening to the song are dealing with, don't necessarily have to be 100% of what Tony was feeling when he wrote the songs. But I think that is one of the magical parts about music, is you can find a way to make these songs relate to you, and it has an impact on your life, and hopefully makes yourself a better person moving forward, or helps you feel better about your day, or doing whatever it can to kind of brighten your mood, even though it's a slightly morose song.
Feeling better. I like that. So I picked that from what you said. And I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, I feel like I can play this song on guitar. I feel like I can sing this. And whenever I listen to music makes me feel that way, I feel better about myself. Because it makes me feel like, if these guys can do it, and it sounds
if we could do
great.
it, you could do it.
Exactly, but not in like the bad way or the funny way that sometimes people say it, but in a positive and motivational way, where it's like, sometimes you just need a couple chords or something, and that's really about it. It's more, for some of us, it's about the story and the lyrics more than the actual instrumentals part of it. Yeah, that's how I'm digging this track. I feel like I'm in that moment of the stars and the night and the wind kind of going, but it's like 70-ish, 75 degrees, and just like letting these emotions go.
You might be on mushrooms too.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe. All right, well, let's keep listening to this. Well, that was Eve by Circling Over, and what an ending. It's track number 2 on your album, and if I didn't know that it was track 2, I would have thought it was the last track, because of the way that it kind of just ends there. But honestly, I wasn't expecting that ending.
Like at what part? Like where the synth comes in, or just like the huge or
None of it.
kind of faded forward?
The fight that I need, these scars that I carved on my wrists, this lifeless machine. When did it come to this?
I have a little bit of a fun, like, I guess it's a funny story. But I remember recording that in the studio and being, alone in the vocal booth and coming out and, doing vocals, thinking that we made a really nice record, and I'm in there doing vocals, ruining it, basically. But I do remember coming back into the, Joe, you probably remember this, but coming back into the control room, and I'm like, have you paid attention to those lyrics before? And Joe's like, no, are you okay?
Yeah, I don't remember reading I don't remember hearing that part when you showed us the lyrics the first time. So we're trying to make sure you're still okay. Yeah, that bit caught me by surprise.
That brings up a question. So Tony, you brought up being alone in the booth. What does the booth mean to you? What's that relationship with you in the booth?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, but
When you step in the booth and it's your moment to kind of release these emotions and it's to let it all out. This is the moment I'm recording. These emotions are what people are going to hear and go off of when they listen to this album.
I think the first thing, it has nothing to really do with emotions, but more or less insecurity. Oh fuck, don't let these guys down. They did all their parts. They sound great.
Well, that is an emotion. That is something that is part of what you feel when you walk in there, is the pressure of it.
We spent so much time dialing in guitar tone, drums, like making sure everything, we just all these little details and making sure it's perfect. And I do consider myself a guitar player before a vocalist. I kind of became vocalist out of meeting people's rough, and, I think back when we first started this band, I think I had this metalcore band way back in the early 2000s, and I think Joe heard it and he was like, you did some of the vocals on that, right? That sounded pretty good. Maybe you should just do it. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll give it a go, and here I am doing this, and you asked for it, so here we are.
That's an interesting perspective on when you walk in.
Adding more people to your band complicates things, and I think keeping it a 4-piece is nice. It's already hard enough to align our schedules, but I think I'm getting off from your question, but I think as far as getting in the booth, my first reaction is don't let them down. I don't even think they were paying attention anyways, and that was just what's going on in my head. After a while, I just forgot about them. I don't care. We're gonna get what we're gonna get. I know I can do this.
Yeah.
Of course, when I first tracked it,
I like that because you switch what you said about yourself. Is I know I can.
Yeah, do this. To my ear, it didn't. Before it was processed and everything, didn't sound that good to me. But everybody else was just kind of encouraging.
Yeah, we are super critical on our own shit.
Yeah, Bobby, Joe, Andrew, Felipe, the recording engineer, they're all just super, like, no, it's going to be great, Okay, we'll see. So when we got the first rough mixes back, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, it's pretty good. So... must have did all right, but I guess my initial thought is just don't mess up. I'm sort of thinking about the emotion, and of course I want there to be emotion in the recording, but also really kind of just focusing on technique too, and just I want as good of a record as we can put out. I want my vocals to sound as good as the music does.
Yeah, it's interesting. One thing I wanted to say real quick, and then Bobby and Joe, I definitely want you to jump in. But the way that I have kind of imagined walking into a booth, and it doesn't really matter what role it is, singer, guitar, whatever. It's almost like when you have to relive moments in your life, because you're saying that you weren't in this place when you recorded it, but you were but when you wrote it, you were kind of remembering a time. So it's going back to that time. So it's almost like you have to snap into a different character. You kind of have to do this mind shift where it's like, okay, I can't be me right now. I want to try to feel the emotions of that hard time in that place that brought this, so I can bring the emotions to the music. So it's almost like when you walk in that booth, you walk into like a portal almost.
Yeah, and I'll say this to your point, like the heavier parts with the screaming. For me, I don't know about you, Bobby, but for me, it's hard to even like do that unless I put myself there.
Right.
A little.
You have to do
it. I kind of have to do it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, like, how do you go from like 1 to 11 without, without putting some emotion in it?
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to just like go from like that soft singing, to going to 11, and not that our
But that's that moment that feels so fucking good, though. Okay.
Yeah,
I've held this in and I'm singing, but now this is the moment to just scream it out. And this gym is almost like my boxing match, where I'm just gonna go in and let it all out. Give it.
So like cathartic, especially playing that song live. When we get to that part, it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah. Bobby and Joe, what are your guys' thoughts at the moment?
It's just speaking from personal experience when I was doing vocals also in a early 2000s metalcore band, getting in the vocal booth. I never found it as cathartic as I was hoping it was going to be, because like Tony said, I was always just too worried on making sure the take was good. I wasn't really good at just like letting myself go completely, just to like put myself in that moment to let the performance speak for itself and let that be the true nature of what I was trying to.
It's a vulnerable place to be in. The booth can be very intimidating and vulnerable.
It's not even just the booth, it's just recording music in general. Like when I started doing my bass takes for the first few times, like you should have seen how sweaty my fingers were and hands were, just because I didn't want to be the one person who was like holding up the show and screwing up everything and disappointing everyone. So I think that's
So it sounds like you and Tony kind of have a same mindset of when you guys are doing it, like you're like the pressure is there to not let each other down.
Yeah, that's we're a lot more mature now, and I think we can identify it. And
Bobby.
Yeah, I'd say for myself, I don't get it so much with like the actual instruments so much, but with vocals, I tend to think, there's a certain character, even though that character is you. I almost think of a character, of, you're finding your voice, and whether that's screaming or yelling, you really need to, like, we'll use the word persona. You need to get into that persona, right?
Yeah.
It's I'm a Paul McCartney fan too. I'm not just a metal guy, and I've kind of heard him talk about, finding your voice for a song, right? You can hear singers sound so different. I think like Bob Dylan in the Basement Tapes kind of sounds like Kermit the Frog in a cool way, but it's finding that voice and getting into that persona, and it definitely is a different cognitive load, at least for me, than playing instruments. Like if I'm gonna hit like a B on my guitar, it's a B on my guitar, right? Like it's always gonna be a B on that guitar. I can get different pickups, I can have different effects or whatnot. But when you're singing, it's like you really got to put yourself into that persona, that mindset, that character. And I'll use that word again, term again. It's just the cognitive load of that is, it can be a bit much. Now take yourself out of your comfort zone. Like Tony's not in his home studio doing it, right? He's sitting in a room with all of his bandmates staring at him, and he's like, we're paying by the hour, that's definitely some pressure, right?
Yeah.
That's definitely some pressure. And so trying to find all that and dial all that in, and knowing you're paying by the hour or by the day, it's there's a bit there to sort of dial in, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool, and it's also what makes it special, things that are hard. When you accomplish hard things, it makes them even that much cooler.
When you accomplish hard things, it makes it that much cooler. I like that quote.
It just is, right?
I agree.
And that's a great thing to live off of, because there's so many things we all want to do, but the the level of difficulty, we tend to kind of go towards easier things. But when you do something that's on the harder end of things, you just feel that much better when you've done it. And it's worth it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the fight that you need.
That's right.
The fight that I need. It's that fight to kind of just push through that part where it's like that inner what's the word I'm thinking of? Inner beast almost, where like I know I have extra in me. I know I have more than what I'm giving right now. It's the fight that I need. And these scars that I've carved on my wrist, they're scars now. That means it's in the past. You're not that person anymore. This lifeless machine. I'm so caught up in my own thoughts that I just feel robotic now, that I don't really feel much, but I have these scars and I know that there's a fight in me. When did it come to this? When did I lose this? So then it puts you in a place of self-reflection, and it goes back to the very first kind of verse in this song that I was saying. It just reminds me of self-reflection and my grip on the surface. There's no coming back. I feel this fault line. It almost seems like a cycle. This track seems like a cycle to me. When did it come to this? And then you take us right back through. I feel through the fault line. There's no coming back. It feels like there's a little bit of motivation. Oh, I might have it. When I'm screaming out my torment, it lies, my parasite. I'm letting it out, but then I just, for whatever reason, the day just ends thinking, when did it come to this? And the cycle just repeats. It's a brand new day, so I have faith again, but then it's just, for some reason, I just go back to this moment where I don't want to be. It's the cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of like, this is a part of me. Why is this a part of me? Why does this have to be a part of me?
Yeah.
I can
It's a part of you. Yeah, it's that part of you don't like. Yeah, I need to get rid of
this. You could all read all the self-help books, go to therapy, do all the things. It's still part of you. But I think it's important to recognize that. So that, I think that's part of it too. Just recognizing that that's a part of you. Don't deny it, because it could just come back without you knowing.
Yeah, if you don't learn from your mistakes, or keep it with you, like I was saying earlier, like we keep a lot of this stuff with us, and it's our mindset that affects it, but also, and it's hard because you want to hang on to this shit, because if you forget about it, you're just going to repeat it again. Yep. And you don't want to do that. Yep. So you have to find a weird kind of balance to hold on to it and pull from it, like you do, Tony, when you go in the booth. I need to hold on to this because I'm going to need to use this for something later, whether it's motivation for song lyrics, or for just working out, whatever. Yeah. And also to remember it when the time is right, that was not the right way to go. This one is heavy. There's not many lyrics, but the lyrics are powerful in what is said. And then the structure of it too.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's heavy.
When we were writing this song, it definitely had like a less is more feel.
Yeah.
I think if you say, you say too much, it'll lose its impact.
Yeah.
Not that I'm worried about people, like, I write the lyrics for me. I run it by these guys through a vetting process. I don't want to put out something out there that they don't believe in either, but I do write the lyrics for me. And if somebody else finds an interpretation for it, great. I think that's awesome. I love that. I love that you had an interpretation, but yeah, by and large, I write them for my own sort of processing, I guess.
Yeah. So this goes now to what I was saying. I had a question that I wanted to ask you, but I felt like a little too early to ask. But now that we finished this track, now I want to ask this question. When you released the track, how did that feel? Knowing, real quick, knowing that you were in this bad place and then you got out of it and then you needed to go back to it to reflect on it and feel it again and then snap out of it again. And then you released it and now everybody knows how you felt and what your thoughts are. It is very, very fucking vulnerable to do something like that.
Yeah, it certainly is.
When you released it to the world, how did that feel?
Felt pretty good, actually.
Hell yeah.
You know, take some things that are, you know, I'm not even gonna say like a negative, but I feel like we created a beautiful piece of art that I think that we're all proud of, and for it to be out there and then get feedback from people on it, I would say it's been pretty positive. I think Joe was right in saying that, and I think we got like one lukewarm review, but you know, that's fine. You know,
You need those though. You need them.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, but you know, to me it felt kind of liberating, and I know my feelings in what I wrote about isn't unique. But you know, I know that's probably more common than not in today's society.
Yeah.
So it's
Way more than you would think. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I think putting it out there is just like, hey, you know, me too. You know, this is my way of expressing it. This is our way of putting this music together, and I think the music matches the lyrics well.
Yeah,
and,
it does. It really, really does.
I think I can't speak for Bobby or Joe, but I think I know how they feel about it, and I think we're all pretty proud of this track.
100%.
So this is a question for everybody. When it comes to music, in your music specifically, when you are in any process, whether it's just jamming together or putting something out or playing a show or releasing recording something, what role does that play in just your day-to-day life and your mental health? What is it like to have that separation of like, my life is not just relationship and career and then I go to bed, or just career and go to bed? It is, you have this whole other life that music provides to you for your mental health. How does that help balance that regular life shit out for you guys?
Well, it's having a release, right? For one, having something that has nothing to do with your day-to-day, you know, I'll just say, you know, what puts the food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I joke that Dan's take the food off the table, but unless you're Taylor Swift or something.
Right.
But anyway, but it's nice having the release. It's nice having this other discipline. It also, you know, involves a community, right? Like going to local shows, playing local shows. You know, it's like we don't just play them; we also go and attend shows and whatnot. And you forge all these new relationships, and that's with like-minded people too. That feels really good.
Yeah. People who understand you and get you on that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, you know, it's not always like in harmony. You know, there are times sometimes where it's just like you didn't sleep all night and you had like a 12-hour day at work, and it's like, crap, I have band practice.
Yeah.
You know, you fight through it, you know, but if
You fight through it because you love it.
yeah, absolutely. It's a labor of love, 100%. And it feeds you like in its like emotional way, right? So
Yeah.
The sense of community, that's one of my favorite things.
Community.
Been in Denver now about 4.5 years or so, and prior to moving here, I didn't really know that.
Where did you live?
People.
before the
North Carolina. I grew up out in Charlotte.
Okay. I interviewed a band from North Carolina. They're called After Tragedy. Everybody go listen to them. They're a great hardcore band. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
So they're not really knowing any people out here, having played in bands since high school up through post college. Kind of took a little bit of a break during the 2010s just to focus on career stuff. And once I moved out here, something I wanted to explore again. So luckily I was able to find these guys to play music with, and they introduced me to the local music scene, and made connections that way and friendships that way. So yeah, I think it's just having the sense of community here is been great for my mental health. Be just my wife and I and our dog. If it didn't really have any friends, and it's harder to make friends when you're in your 40s like we are. So I can't imagine having to move to another city and trying to do all that over again is not necessarily easy. Finding people that you can get along with who, like-minded, and you enjoy spending time with. I feel like it's harder and harder the older you get. So yeah, having this sense of community is kind of the most important part for me.
Question for you, Joe. What was the dynamic like? The dynamic like when you moved from North Carolina to Denver, and it's almost like you started fresh again, where you're like, I'm moving to a new state. I want to do this thing that I love. What was that process like for you, and kind of what made you want to pick up doing music again?
I didn't want to feel like I was becoming an old guy, a boring old guy. So I'd always had this music thing in my back pocket. That I did for damn near 20 years back in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to get back to that because it was always one of my favorite things to do. Was always just writing music, recording music, and playing shows. Especially was always just one of my favorite things to do. And I got away from that for a good probably 7 or 8 years, just focusing on career stuff when I moved out here. And I remember the specific moment when I decided to do it. I was shopping with my wife at some furniture store, and it's like, man, is this my life now? Where we just moved out here, we don't have a lot of friends, I'm just shopping for furniture. Yeah. And I love spending time with her. It's nothing against her. It was just the moment of like, okay, I'm kind of just becoming one of those normal consumers where all I do is I wake up, I go to work, and I shop, and I go back to bed, and that's kind of it. And I just did not want that to be the rest of my life going forward. So.
Oh, it was a self-reflection moment, and that's what I get from this. Yeah. That's what I get from this track.
Yeah, and that's what it was for me. So
yeah, that's cool.
I remember the specific moment when it happened. It's like, yeah, I really miss playing music, but how do I go about starting bands? So when I was back in North Carolina, it was all just my buddies from high school that I had. So it was like, oh yeah, this guy plays drums, this guy plays guitar, whatever. So we'll all get together and just kind of start a crappy metalcore band. But not having that foundation over here, it's like, well, how do I get the ball rolling? So I just put an ad on Craigslist and Facebook and was able to find all these guys to do that. So.
You put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Which also is a very vulnerable thing to do that not a lot of people do.
It was, and I didn't know what to expect going forward with it. I didn't know if people were going to reply to it or if I was going to meet people I could get along with who, maybe meet some sketchy people you don't want to end up becoming friends with or have a really relationship with, or especially a band with. So luckily it worked out. So yeah, just kind of put myself out there. And
hell yeah, that's a great inspirational story right there.
And it was everyone who even replied to the ad, 'cause I'm sure people were in the same boat I was, and they saw some stranger posting it out online trying to start a band and make some music together. And I remember Tony saying he was kind of hesitant to come to the first meetup that we ended up having together, and his wife pushed him to do it. And well, that she did, because it all kind of worked out. But, I mean, no one knew what to expect when we were first going into it. I mean, no one knew if any of us were sketchy or weird or what the process was going to end up like. So
yeah, that's a fun story. I like that. It's a great moment of self-reflection and putting yourself out there. And the fight that I need, that was a fight within you, just getting back into it. It was the fight that you needed.
That was it.
Tony, what about you, man?
I'd have to agree with these guys about the community thing. That is funny. Joe brought up I think it was a group on Facebook or something. I think I replied to, and we're like, oh, we're gonna get together. But it was like a whatever night, like a Thursday night or something, and with a rehearsal space, and like I kind of maybe got in my head a little bit. I was like, I don't know. It's like an ad. These guys might be sketchy. I don't I don't know, man. Maybe I'm getting too old for this, that kind of thing, you know. Showed up and we jammed. It didn't go that good, you know, from what I remember.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. But you know what? We were like, yeah, let's give it like a month or two, and if things start kind of gelling, and then we'll continue to do it. If it doesn't, yeah, no big deal. You know, we'll just move on with not doing this, and it ended up starting. Once we started getting to a place where we were creating things, I liked it. I was like, okay, so we're creating some things that I like.
This is pretty cool. I dig this.
Yes,
Kind of what you said.
I can, it's, you know, and I think like I knew what I wanted to write, but like I couldn't quite write what I wanted to write yet, because I just like Joe, I took a long break. I was living the normie life, which is nothing against it. That's fine. It's just it's not for everybody. You know, I've been typical Colorado lifestyle where I was mountain biking and, you know, hiking and doing all that stuff, and I still do that stuff. But you know, over COVID, I started picking my guitar up again, and I think Joe put an ad out, and it said something about something like Neurosis or Cult of Luna or something like that, and I'm like I like those bands, and it ended up we started writing, and I don't think we ended up being anything like Joe imagined. So I think it took a little bit of a left turn. I think it's still adjacent, but it's not quite that. And I kind of like that about Circling Over, to be honest, that it kind of became its own thing. But I think to agree with Bobby Joe, I do love the community. There's a lot of great bands in Denver. There's a lot of great people, and
A lot of great breweries.
Yeah, and I do enjoy going out. Not as much, you know, as much as I like supporting, you know, these bands that these people I consider that are my friends at this point. I even more enjoyed supporting them and just being there, and just the camaraderie within the band and externally with other bands and stuff like that. And it's just, I think it's a nice scene that we have here. And, you know, some people have their poker nights. We have band night, you know, and then we play a show every once in a while. And then when, you know, we have enough songs, we pressure each other into recording a record. And I think I kind of can't wait till we do that again, to be honest. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but
It's your therapy session. You're ready for it.
yeah. We
Get it all out.
we got a few songs in the oven right now between Bobby and I, you know, but you know, we'll get there. And I think for me, it's that, and the creation of the art, creating some things that might be maybe not so positive, and turning it into a positive, and
Right.
making art out of it, and sharing it with people. And it's really cool to share with people you know, but sometimes it's even cooler to get responses from people I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And now the way things are with Spotify and Apple Music and, you know, Bandcamp and everything, you can reach
Yeah.
anybody. And I think it's really cool. It's really neat that, you know, some kid in Indonesia heard Eve, you know. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
so all those things.
So okay, that was thank you for sharing all that. So I have one thing I wanted to point out, and then one question. The thing I wanted to point out is what you said, Tony. You said it a while back, but your exact words were, maybe I'm too old. Maybe. And I like that. It's almost like a what if. What if this works out? Maybe I'm too old, but maybe I'm not. Like that maybe just like leaves it kind of open-ended. And I think when it comes to self-talk, if you would have left that maybe out, maybe you would have never responded to that ad. I'm too old for this. It's not going to work out.
Yeah, and I think I don't think of it from like an age standpoint. I thought,
Yeah.
you know, maybe like what is expected of me.
Sure. But it's still the same idea where you're coming into it like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe this will work. Like maybe is a lot better than this is not going to work. I can't do this. I can't.
Giving
this,
yourself
I can't this.
definitive. Yeah.
But that maybe is what gave you that little push.
Yeah.
Um,
Shut up. We're here.
I like that. You also brought up 2020. Is that when that ad kind of came out? Was that kind of what sparked that move a little bit too, Joe? Like, what was 2020 like in like the posting days and trying to figure all this stuff out? And how did 2020 play a role in just this band starting and when you all connected?
It wasn't until 21 that I posted the ad. We moved out here in the summer of 2020, so this was a little bit the past COVID, but I'm certainly just being at home, like Tony said, just kind of noodling around with your guitar, which I'd kind of neglected for the last couple years prior to that point. Certainly didn't hurt getting the ball rolling, just mentally, just getting the creative juices flowing again.
Yeah.
Even though it was, a year prior to me actually getting the ad online, it helped.
Yeah, and Tony, you said you kind of picked that passion back up again in 2020?
Yeah. It's about that time. I was like, I think I was talking to my wife and she's really encouraging, and she's like, I was talking about like, it's really, really a shame that like I put something down that I know how to do, and
Yeah, but then you got that time.
and I was like, I'm working from home and work's kind of canceled right now, and I wonder if I can get it back. Yeah. So it was a lot faster than I thought it would be.
We all had to do a lot of self-reflection in that year and the years to come too. It changed a lot of us. And so I think we all had a very weird awakening moment in that time, and for the best or for the worst, or for a mixture of both. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that like you found yourself again and were forced into the self-evaluation, I think that's what it ultimately ended up helping you. What about you, Bobby?
Oh, about particularly picking it up again or taking a break?
Well,
or what was
actually,
the
so
focus?
kind of 2020 or 2021 era, like right around the time when you like first got connected with them, and kind of what made you pull that spark back out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and to be clear with that, I wasn't one of the original members. I came into the picture a bit later. I think I've been in, I guess, a little over 2 years now, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So I came in a bit later, but anyway, yeah, just the whole COVID thing, and I just will kind of touch on that. Music was a saving grace because I was also working from home and went through a breakup, lost a friend of 35 years, and was just like, so dark, right? So, music was definitely a saving grace, just in general, right? So, eventually, my playing of music and whatnot led me to these guys. Eventually, they actually went to, kind of ironically, it's funny, I remember the date. I think it was December 19th. A couple of years ago, I went to see them live, and I just introduced myself, and I think
cool.
I think I bought a shirt, and Tony gave me a koozie. And I was like, yeah, they're cool.
Hell yeah.
And a couple months later, he was reaching out to me, like, hey, what do you think about maybe playing guitar? We got a guy that's kind of stepping down and whatnot. And I was like, let's talk. So, so again, and that just came from community, like we were talking about earlier.
That's cool.
Right? It was just like, hey, you guys are cool. I'm Bobby. Happy holidays.
One of the cool things that I find about you guys as a band is, you're all of the mindset of it seems like you all have gone through some self-reflection in your life at some point, and it's made you the band that you are now, and it's very obvious in like, for example, of we're a little bit older or we're in our 40s, but fuck it, who cares? Let's go and do what we love. And it seems like you guys are very collaborative on, just even the structure of things, the lyrics. And not wanting to disappoint each other in the studio because of that pressure, because it just shows you care. It seemed like you guys needed like this moment to kind of come into this at the point of your life that you're at now. And after going through the family stuff, the shopping for furniture in the new house or apartment, it seemed like you've had this life experience, but during that reflection, you realize it was the music that kept you going. It was the music that like had that passion there for you, and you just needed to do it no matter what. Like nothing really mattered. Like you needed to have that moment. And you're all just there on that same level. That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. If it definitely feels so right now, like the last couple years through now and the foreseeable future, it definitely feels like it's an appropriate time for this band to exist.
Yeah, it really seems like it. There's a lot of bands who kind of get together in their early years, you know, right out of high school or early college, and they're all about it, but then life just happens. And then they don't do it, they break up and they lose it. You know, there's definitely something about music that keeps people coming back. You know, I was in a band in high school, you know, I'm sure you guys were all playing that kind of music in high school, but that music brought you back. And I think a lot of the best music comes from a place of reflection when the lyrics just mean so much because you guys have actually lived through it. Instead of some like college students talking about a breakup in high school. You know what I mean? Like this is like adult like rock and roll and reflection and like something we all need as we get older. We need these moments to feel this because we're all feeling it together. It seems like this is if you guys could have it, for me in my perspective, it seems like if you guys can have one song that tells your story as a band, it's this song.
The structure of the song, it mixes the chill, the vibe, the moody, the morose with the heavy, which is kind of aspects of what our band is. So
Yeah.
I think Makers is kind of there too. If I had to pick two songs that are like essential circling over, it's probably even Makers. If you're like wanted to get an idea of what we sound like, I think those are good places to start.
It seems like this EP is very heavy for you guys in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's a quite a mix of songs on here, really. You know, I feel like there's a kind of a few different things that get touched on throughout this record, different heaviness and cadences and song structure and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy that I was finally able to hear this song because I held off because I knew we were breaking this song down, so I have not listened to it. So I'm glad I was finally able to go through this journey with you guys and dig through these lyrics. It was a fun one.
thanks, man.
Well, speaking on lyrics and music, what does 2026 look like for you guys? What do you guys got coming up?
Hopefully some more recording and be writing some songs, hopefully some shows. So I mean, don't expect any coast to coast tours or anything, but yeah, just writing some music and recording and just us hanging out. So yeah, hopefully good stuff.
Well, I know one thing that's coming up in 2026, and that is your show at HQ, the Brayburn Records Showcase, with our friends over at Suicide Cages, Talking Point, D Horn, yeah, how are you guys feeling about the show coming up?
Yeah, should be
Stacked
fun.
lineup. Excited.
Yeah.
Stacked lineup. Yeah, I think we're playing first, so come early.
Come early.
Yeah. You know, come early, stay for the headliner.
Yeah. Is Eve one that's going to be on your lineup, or you're still not sure of that yet?
We'll probably play it. I mean, we haven't really talked about our set list yet, but that's one that usually is played. So I don't think hasn't been played at a show since we released it. So yeah, it'll likely be there.
I can't imagine not playing it, but yeah, we haven't talked about a set. All of our songs are medium long, the longish, the 6 minute, 7 minute marks. So our set is usually only like 5 or 6 songs. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, I love that you left it open ended, so you just have to go to the show and find out if it's in the set.
Yeah, come to the show and find out. If you play your cards right, we'll play it.
Yeah. If somebody were to ask you, where is the best place to go for everything circling over? What is that answer? What would you tell them?
For merch, we're on Bandcamp. We have a ton of cool T-shirts and stuff, and don't be afraid to order a vinyl if they should be arriving soon.
Yeah.
But
this episode is premiering in January, so it should be out by now. Go to their website literally right now.
Yeah. In fact, it's out now.
It's out now.
Maybe.
There you go.
Well, go to their website and just check, because it might be.
Yeah. Even better yet, come to the show and come say hi.
Exactly. There you go.
And
get it autographed.
Yeah, and then you don't have to pay shipping. But if you're somebody that lives out of state or something like that, we'll be happy to ship it to you.
And there's also Southwest, so you can fly over there. So
right.
I don't know. No excuses to not show up.
A big old airport over there.
Yeah.
Transportation.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on and telling your story. I know it's not an easy thing to do, to come on here and just talk about your feelings when you're in a rock band. You want to hold it in sometimes. But thanks for doing it. And hopefully your audience and your fans can listen to this and learn a little bit more about you, and just feel more connected to your band, and just does great things for you guys. So thank you so much. Everybody go see them live at HQ in Denver, Colorado on February 28th. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you guys for coming on again. We got to do this again very soon.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Likewise.
Thank you.